Good morning. We have a really packed agenda today, so I'm just going to go through a couple of very quick housekeeping things before we begin. I'm Gabriel Stricker, and for those of you who are here, if you're having any problems just using the Wi-Fi, please just raise your hand and someone will come over and help you. I actually do see a handful of hands here, so please just keep them up and someone will come over and do some tech support on the fly. For those of you who are tuning in via our live stream, we're going to be having a Q&A at the end of today's program. And if you have questions, please email them to us at chrome2010@google.com. That's chrome2010@google.com. And we'll read them and address as many of your questions as we can right after the program. And so without further ado, I'd like to hand it over to our Vice President of Product Management, Mr. Sundar Pichai. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming. Really appreciate your time. Last year when we had this event about a year ago, we had it back in Mountain View. And I know a lot of you had difficulty getting there in the morning. So we tried to do it in San Francisco this time. So hopefully it was a bit easier for most of you. We have a lot of stuff to cover today. There are three main areas we're going to cover today. First is Chrome. We launched Chrome about 2 years ago. So we want to give an update on where we are today and give you a preview of some of the upcoming features in Chrome. The second area we want to talk about is Chrome Web Store. About 6 months ago at Google I/O, we had announced details of the Web Store, and we've made a lot of progress since then, and so we want to give you an update on the Web Store. The third area, where we will focus most of our time today, is Chrome OS. A year ago, we announced the open source project behind Chrome OS, and we have been working with the community and partners to make a lot of progress. So we want to share you some exciting news there as well. So let's get started. The first thing is Chrome. When we launched Chrome, the fundamental insight for us behind Chrome was recognizing that the web had shifted from documents, simple text pages, to rich interactive applications, what we now call as the Ajax Web 2.0 revolution. It was a pretty profound shift, and most browsers were built for the era of simple web pages. So we actually thought of Chrome almost as a modern operating system for web applications. We brought in principles of modern operating systems into the world of browsers. And we focused on three main things: speed, simplicity, and security. I want to share with you in each of these areas what are we doing now, but let's first recap as to where we are in terms of our users. The last number we announced was during Google I/O 6 months ago. We had reached 70 million active users. We are very, very conservative in how we count users in Chrome. These are primary users who use Chrome as their day-to-day browser. In the 6 months since Google I/O, we've had tremendous growth, and we are very excited to announce that we are at 120 million users today. If you take a look at it, this growth is global in nature. We have growth in every country. While we expect North America and Europe, Western Europe, et cetera, which is obvious, we have had a lot of traction in emerging markets as well. In fact, there are several countries, Philippines, India, Albania, et cetera, where we are close to 1 in 4, and in some cases we are approaching 1 in 3 internet users are using Chrome. And if you look at leading tech blogs, we look at them as a leading indicator of where the rest of the broader population is moving. There are several blogs, including TechMeme, TechCrunch, et cetera, which have reported Chrome is their leading browser. Again, 120 million users. It actually represents a 300% growth since January of this year. So what is driving this growth? The single most common piece of feedback we get from our users, the single most common piece of feedback is that Chrome is fast. So speed has been our biggest focus since day one, and we have a lot more features coming ahead. Speed is not something which you can just layer on in the product. It's not a feature here or there. It's a feature which is pervasive. We thought about it from the day one, from the time you click on the icon to everything you do in the browser. And so it's built in all through the browser. To give you a sense of some of our exciting upcoming features in Chrome, I want to invite you our lead character in Chrome comic book, as well as our Director of Product Management, Brian Rakowski.
Thanks, Sundar. And like Sundar said, we're all about speed. So I'm going to show you a couple of things that we're doing on the Chrome team to make Chrome much, much faster. Speed is a multifaceted problem. There's a lot of things we're working on, but I'll just show you a couple. Now, you might have noticed a couple of months ago, we launched Instant on the Google homepage, and it helps you get to your search results much, much faster. So we were, of course, very excited about that in Chrome. We wanted to get the same benefits from the Chrome Omnibox. So just to refresh your memory, I'll show you how Instant works in the Google search box on the homepage by doing a query for my very favorite food, spaghetti tacos. And as you can see, before I've even finished typing, before I've hit enter, the results are showing inline in the page. It's a really nice experience, and you can see why it got us so excited and why we wanted to get the same experience in Chrome with Omnibox. So I'll show you the exact same query in the Omnibox. This is what our team's been working on for a little while. And as you can see, same experience, really fast to get your search results, really good, slick experience. So that's one part of the equation, but as you know, the Omnibox is about more than just search results. It's also about getting to URLs that you go to directly. So in my case, I'm a big sports fan. I tend to go to ESPN a lot, and the browser has learned that that's one of the URLs that I'm going to when I type ESPN. So with Instant in the Omnibox, it gets even faster. Rather than having to select from a list of suggestions and then commit the result and load the page, all I have to do is type a single letter and the page loads. So I'll show you what that means. I'll type an E for ESPN, and the page is already loaded. I didn't have to hit enter. I didn't have to finish the query. It's pretty nice. And it's not just ESPN. There's lots of other pages that I go to a lot. I tend to check what my friends are doing on Twitter a lot. Type a T for Twitter, and you can see the page loads instantly. I go check the news on CNN, C for CNN, and the page is there right away. So it's a really great experience, and we're very excited about this. In case you missed it, I'll do it one more time. E for ESPN, T for Twitter, C for CNN. E, it's pretty fun. T, C. So that's Instant in the Omnibox. We want to make getting to your pages as quickly as possible, the way Chrome works. The next thing I wanted to show you was about making different types of content very fast. So one of the most important types of content on the web is PDF, and we've been working on a built-in PDF reader in Chrome. The number one thing that we've been focusing on is making it really, really fast. So I'll show you what it looks like by doing a search for my very favorite PDF on the web, the Chrome comic book. And don't be distracted by the dashing characters in this comic book. I will click on this link, and you can instead focus on the speed of the PDF reader. Ready? Click. And it's already there. It's pretty nice. But in fairness, it's only a 20 or 30 page PDF, so I want to show you something that's a little bit tougher. I've bookmarked a perhaps more important but less interesting PDF, the Healthcare Reform Bill. And I'll give it a click. It's actually 1,990 pages of PDF. And ready? Click. It's already there. And you can see the whole thing in all its glory. I can scroll down. You can even see it's 1,990 pages. So that's PDF Reader in Chrome. Very, very fast. Makes loading PDFs a breeze. And we're really excited about what we've got there. Now, another type of content that we want to make faster is graphical content on the web. And our team has been working very hard on hardware acceleration. And just to make sure we're all on the same page, when I talk about hardware acceleration, I'm talking about offloading as much of the work in rendering graphical content to the GPU from the CPU as possible. Now, the GPU is a second processor on your computer, specifically designed for rendering graphical content. Historically, GPUs, graphical content on the web, the only content you could offload to the GPU has been stuff like transitions and animations and things like that, which are very nice and makes for much more interactive websites. But we've also been adding some APIs to the web platform that allow you to do real, rich, 3D, immersive scenes in the browser. So I'll show you an example of that. The technology that we're using for this is called WebGL. And this is a demo of a little aquarium. And as it loads, you'll see there'll be a bunch of fish swimming around in the aquarium. All the assets are now loaded. And WebGL is doing all the work to make sure we keep track of the lighting, the shadows, which fish is in front of the other fish and all the different layers that correspond to the locations of the fish. And as I add more fish to the aquarium, there's more work to do. And all this is being offloaded to the GPU, and that's why it can be so responsive and the path of the fish can be so smooth. I'll even add a few more fish. I can change the view, and you'll see that it's actually a spherical aquarium. You can see the light reflecting off the sides of the tank and the walls reflecting off the sides. It's a pretty complicated scene from a graphics perspective. And you can see there's some sharks in there. And if I unveil my secret feature, you can see lasers shooting out of the shark's eyes. And the lasers will actually refract as they come around the bend off the side of the tank as if it were a real 3D aquarium with a real spherical tank. You can see the refraction right now as they come around the bend. So it's pretty cool. It's a really nice example of what you can do with graphics in today's web. And just to prove we can, I'll ratchet us up to 1,000 fish, and the browser can still handle it. So that's pretty cool. We're excited about that. Now, the next one is another example of something you can do in WebGL. This is a visualization of earthquakes that have happened in the last year overlaid on a globe. And you kind of spin the globe, has a feel of a real gravity and the spin of the Earth as you grab it and fling it. You can kind of see where the fault lines are based on where the earthquakes are happening. Each one of these dots represents an earthquake, and the farther away the dot is from the surface of the Earth represents a larger earthquake. So I can even pick one of these earthquakes from the sidebar here, and the globe will spin to that location, zoom in, and you'll see a completely unscientific and completely gratuitous animation, but still somewhat illustrative of what an earthquake might look like if you could see it and we were in space. Here we go. There it is. So pretty cool. Now I have one more demo of what you can do with WebGL in the browser. And this one's a great example of something that happens when a team hears about the capabilities in the browser and they get excited about something they've been wanting to do for a while. So this comes to us from the Google Health team. As you can see, it's a model of a body. You can move it around, you can spin it, you can zoom in and out. And I'll be very careful about how I do this next part, or else this would have been a demo that would have been better suited for incognito. But you can remove layers, and we'll just skip ahead to remove the musculature. You can see the bones. You can hide the bones and see the organs. You can hide the organs and see the circulatory and nervous system. And of course, you can zoom in and navigate around. It's very nice. The other cool thing you can do here is you can actually search for a body part. So I always get confused between the femur and the fibula, so I'll just type an F. There you can see the femur. Fibula is the one below it. Femur, fibula. And you can learn about a whole bunch of other body parts just by scrolling down the list. The layers will hide and show appropriately, and zoom into the right locations, and you can see all these different body parts. And it's very smooth. All this work is happening on the GPU. Really easy to transition between these two states. It's a great experience. So I'm very excited to see what else people will build given these APIs in the browser. And we'll see what else is in store. But the most important thing is it's all going to be really, really fast.
Thanks, Brian. I always get excited when new capabilities are added to browsers because developers are very imaginative, and I can only imagine the kind of rich 3D graphical applications you're going to see on the web. In fact, this Liquid Galaxy demo of all the fish running around is in the back of the hall, and if you get a chance, you should take a look at it later. Continuing on speed, this is something we invest most of our time on. The whole speed journey for us, when we launched Chrome, started with something called V8. It was a brand new JavaScript engine, which was built by a team in Denmark, which was at that time the best-in-class JavaScript engine. When we launched V8, we were 8x faster in 2008 than the fastest JavaScript performance out there in the market. And compared to IE, we were about 16x faster. Most users on the web were using IE at that time. And so we were about 16x faster. We have continued to work on this JavaScript performance in every single release of Chrome since then. So if you look at how we have progressed, in the last few versions, we have made V8 another 4x faster. So it is about 32x faster than where browsers were 2 years ago. The good news is, because V8 is open source, a lot of browsers are improving JavaScript performance, and the web is getting much faster. We are very excited to announce that today we are adding an enhancement to V8. It is called Crankshaft, and it can be anywhere up to 2x faster, depending on the benchmark you use. So with V8 today, with Crankshaft, which uses a technology called adaptive compiling, we are about 50x as fast as web browsers were just 2 years ago. And if you compare it to IE 2 years ago, we are 100x faster. So something which took about a minute to execute in JavaScript about 2 years ago can happen in less than a second today. That's progress in terms of speed, and it makes the web much, much faster. The next area we focus on in Chrome is simplicity. In fact, the name Chrome comes from the fact that we wanted to focus on the content of the web page, not the Chrome of the browser. If you looked at an average browser at the time we launched Chrome, if you take roughly 800 by 600 screen size, about 1/3 of that screen real estate was used by the Chrome of the browser. Only 2/3 of the real estate was left for the content of the web page. The second insight we had in Chrome was that Chrome is only a tool to help users use the web. The browser is only there for you to use the web. And so the browser should be as minimal as possible. We constantly, while it is subtle and most people wouldn't notice it, we constantly look at every pixel to free up real estate for the browser. We are now down to 7 click targets on the top of the browser. But simplicity is not just UI alone. Again, just like speed, it goes beyond UI into all aspects of the browser. Here are a few additional things we do. Today, for most browsers, users are responsible for making sure the browser is in their latest and most secure version. If you use Google Chrome, we make sure we seamlessly and transparently auto-update users to the latest version. We've had over 30 stable updates in Chrome in the last 2 years, and users never notice. We take care of it for them. So that's simplicity. The second thing is we never, ever interrupt users when they're using Chrome with modal dialogues. By modal dialogues, I'm talking about dialogues which appear in front of your browser asking you a question. You will never see that in Chrome. And so, again, it adds to the simplicity experience so that you can focus on the web. Today, we are very excited to announce a third area, which I think really improves simplicity. We call this the same Chrome experience everywhere. If you go to Chrome today, in your preferences menu, you can turn on a feature called Chrome Sync. When you turn on that feature, you can choose which data you want to sync. You can sync every aspect of your data, bookmarks, themes, extensions, applications, so that Chrome feels the same personalized Chrome independent of the machine you use. It really makes the browser much simpler to use. The third area on Chrome we want to talk to you about is security. Security is kind of a dull area to talk about, but it turns out it's the most important area for users. They get impacted every day. In fact, the bad guys have it very, very easy on the web nowadays. They don't even need to work hard to find exploits. They can actually wait. They hear about a known exploit. So there's an exploit in a browser, and the browser has put out a new version. Users don't update their browser frequently. In fact, there is a big, long window before people update their browser to the latest version. So if you're a bad guy, you can actually wait till the exploit is identified. There is a known patch for it out. You can still go and compromise all those users who haven't been updated to the latest version. So we are working to solve that problem in Chrome. It is never possible to design a perfectly secure system. So the way we approach security is what we call defense in depth, and hence a castle analogy. You have to build many, many layers of security so that if the first layer breaks down, the second layer is there to protect you, and so on. So there are 3 main things we do in Chrome to keep users safe. The first is full auto updates. It is extraordinarily important that you're always on the latest and the most secure version. We take care of that for users. The second is what we call sandboxing. What do we mean by sandboxing? Sandboxing means in case a bad piece of code, malware, gets in your browser, that it is contained within the browser, and it cannot escape it to compromise the rest of your system. It cannot persist on the system. It cannot read your data. It cannot log onto your firmware and read your keyboard strokes, etc. So we protect that. People use the word sandbox casually, but in the world of security, among security researchers, it has a very precise meaning. They call this a security boundary. Chrome is the only true sandbox available in modern browsers. There are several research papers which validate this, and it provides state-of-the-art security for people browsing the web today. Today, we are excited to talk about the next step in sandboxing, which is plugin sandboxing. We have sandboxed web pages, but it turns out another common use case in browsers is to use plugins. Plugins aren't sandboxed in browsers today, and so that is a security vector. We are working with some of the most popular plugins out there. We started with PDF. Brian gave you a demo of how fast PDF is in Chrome. But what he didn't mention is it is fully built into Chrome. We constantly keep it updated, and it runs within the Chrome sandbox. The next area we are working on is with Adobe. We are working closely with Adobe to make sure Flash is currently built into Chrome. We update Chrome users to the latest and secure version of Flash all the time. And we've partially sandboxed Flash, and we're going to be working with Adobe to make it fully sandboxed as well. So again, security is something which impacts users on a day-to-day basis, and we are working very, very hard to make Chrome secure. So the combination of speed, simplicity, and security is what we hope has helped us get tremendous adoption in the marketplace. We are at 120 million users, and we thank users for their support, and we look forward to more innovations there. Moving on beyond Chrome, the next big major feature which we are offering in Chrome to users is the Chrome Web Store. About 6 months ago at I/O, we first gave details of this project. Since then, we announced a developer SDK, and we've made lots of progress. There are many, many partners who have been working very closely with us in terms of getting applications ready. So we actually want to give you a full demo of where the web store is today. But it's worth recapping why we started working on the problem in the first place. The web has thousands and thousands of applications, more than any of us can count. But it is really, really hard for us to discover these applications. I gave this example at I/O where I was trying to find a chess game for my kids, and it was very hard. I searched for it, a lot of links, but no ratings, no reviews. I did not know which was the best game to go and play. But once I found one, later when I came back to my computer, I couldn't remember how to go back to it, etc. I keep encountering into this problem. Most recently, on my phone, I discovered this amazing application called Flickster. It's about movies. It's about reviews. You can find show times. It's a really nice app. I come back to my computer. It turns out Flickster is there on the web as well, but somehow I had never known about it. And this problem resonates with a lot of people. So our goal was to help users discover these applications. From a developer standpoint, it's really hard to stand out in this world of applications. And more importantly, it's very hard to monetize applications. You have one tool in your arsenal, which is advertising. That works great in many cases, but there are cases where it doesn't work so well. People want to get paid for their apps. But today, users don't trust a small independent developer and go to some site which they don't know about and pay $2 or $3 or $4. They hesitate to do that. Those are the problems we set out to solve with the Chrome Web Store. So let's take a look. I would like to invite Can Liu, who's the product manager on Chrome, who's going to help us demo the Chrome Web Store. So let's start by looking at the gallery, which is the landing page of the Chrome Web Store. So it is meant for discovery. It is very rich, visual, interactive, and we constantly work to feature new applications. So let's poke around and see what we can find. Let's go and click the news category. I'm a huge news fan, so I tend to catch up on a lot of news. And as you can see, there are several news applications which are already in the gallery. One application which catches my eye is NPR. I listen to NPR all the time. It seems to have high ratings. We already installed this application on this machine, so we'll go ahead and show it to you. So if you go to the NPR application, what you find is it looks very different from a web page today. So NPR has done some cool work on mobile platforms, and they've brought a lot of those elements to the web. So you can see it's a very rich, interactive application, and it's very, very easy to browse news. My favorite feature is playlists. You can click on any article you like and keep adding it to the playlist. And once you're done, you can have it play in the background while you continue browsing
From
the
NPR
web.
Music, you're listening to a special performance by Elton John
So,
and Leon Russell. It
Next
was recorded
application
live from
I want to show to you is Sports Illustrated. At Google I/O, we gave you a full demo of Sports Illustrated. I'm very excited to say the app is ready. I've been using it now. They call it SI Snapshot. Sports Illustrated is known for the quality of their photos. As a sports fan, you love the amazing quality of the photos they have, and they've created an entire visual rich experience. You can consume the whole day's sports information just on photos. And you can even go and personalize it for you. There's a content section called My SI, and if you set it up, you will get sports news for your area, things you like, teams you like, etc. Again, a rich, visual, interactive application, not what you commonly expect to see on the web. Let's go back to the gallery. Another category of applications which we are very, very excited about is games. Turns out games are the most popular applications in every app store. So we've been working very hard on games as well, and so we want to show you how that works. There's a game here in the featured category called Dreams 2. I'm constantly looking for new games for my kids. So here, this game is $1.99. We want to show you how easy it is to purchase an app in the Chrome Web Store. Let's go ahead and buy and install it. So it's all integrated with your account. So you enter your credentials. We do a lot of work to make sure we detect fraud, etc. And so there is processing which happens in the background, and it takes about 5 to 10 seconds, and we get done with install. So this is a simple app which is, normally when I look for apps with my kids, these are apps in which I hope they will spend a few minutes and I can get a break. This fits that category really well. So you go there. I've tried playing this game. I never do well, but my daughter is amazing at it. So you just have to find differences. Turns out Ken is not that good at it either. So let's stop playing. But again, this is a game. It's written in Flash, works great, and you can see you could purchase it easily in the web store. We are actually offering developers a variety of choices as to how to monetize their applications. So we want to put developers in control of how they want to reach users. And so let's pick another app, which is Cloud Canvas. This is a different category of app. It's a drawing, it's a painting app. It's really good. It's very powerful. It's a productivity app. And it is, let's go ahead and find the app. It is about, I think it's $4.99 a month, so it's a subscription app. But what they have done is they want to offer users the ability to try it for free. So you can go ahead and try it for free. It's entirely up to the developer in terms of how long do they give a trial period, etc. So we want to offer the entire spectrum of options to developers and let developers choose how they want to reach users. So we've given you a few demos, but the primary purpose of the web store is to showcase partners. So we've been working with really, really major partners, people who develop incredibly powerful applications and reach tens of millions of users. So I want to start by inviting Mark Franz from the New York Times, one of my favorite news publications, to give us a demo. Thank you, Mark.
Take that. Good morning. Morning, everyone. First, thank you, Sundar. First, I'd like to introduce my colleagues, Andre Behrens, our lead software engineer, and Paul Lau, our graphic designer. Ever since the launch of our website in 1996, the New York Times has been known as a technology innovator. Today, we're excited to unveil the next innovation in digital journalism, NY Times for the Chrome Web Store, an app that expands the boundaries of what's possible on the web. We've built this app from the ground up using the latest and bleeding-edge web technologies, HTML5, CSS3, advanced JavaScript, and some special features of the new Chrome browser. The result is a spectacular new way to read and share news and information, one that combines the immediacy and interactivity of our award-winning website with the readability, speed, and seamless navigation of an app. Let's take a look. With NY Times for Chrome, you can browse the web your way. The app comes with 10 customized skins that let you scan headlines in everything from the most graphical to the most basic. Here's a quick sampling. With the email-like lines view, you can browse headlines in no time. The text-rich Doric skin comes close to mimicking the look and feel of a print newspaper. And on the opposite end of the visual spectrum, the photo gallery allows you to see the news and pictures. There's a big picture skin we call Stack, which showcases our stunning images in photography. Let's go to my favorite, the priority view, which displays the articles in the order of importance selected by our editors. Navigate between sections using your keyboard, or if you happen to be using a touchscreen device, with the flick of a finger. You can access the full list of keyboard commands by clicking on the shortcuts icon. The stories themselves have never looked more beautiful or more engaging, or been easier to read and share. You can also browse an entire section of articles from within any story with the touch of a cursor key. It's very fast. There are up-to-the-minute breaking news alerts, and for those times when you're not connected to the internet, you can read our content offline. Installing the app is as simple as clicking on the Times icon in the Chrome Web Store. So there it is. We're truly excited to be pioneering the next generation of open web technologies with Google. It's only the beginning of what we can achieve. Thank you. Thanks, John.
Thanks. So the single thing which excites me most about the New York Times application is that it works offline. So we'll talk about this later. It's an important use case which we are addressing through the Chrome Web Store. A lot of applications you see on the Chrome Web Store works offline even when you have no connectivity. I talked earlier about the importance of games on the Web Store. So I want to invite one of the leading market players in the world of gaming, EA. So we have the Chief Operating Officer of EA, John Shepard.
Thanks, Sundar, and hi, everyone. EA has been a leader in interactive entertainment for more than 25 years. And much of that leadership is built on the innovation of strong brands and franchises. Today, we're proud to bring our strong games and franchises to the Google Chrome Web Store with its integrated payment system. Now, let me show you one of those games. A few years ago, we acquired Pogo.com. Pogo.com is a great suite of web-based games with a strong and loyal following of players. And one of the flagship titles on Pogo.com is Pop It. Now, here's Pop It in standard. This is how it looks right now. You can play Pop It. I'm going to go over the rules of Pop It just so we know how to play. So with Pop It, whenever you see two or more balloons of the same color touching you pop them. So again, I threw a lot of information your way, so we're going to do that one more time. So whenever you see two or more of the same colored balloons touching, you pop them, right? So anyway, Pop It is a simple and fun game that everyone can play. It is played by millions each and every month, and it's just a great game. Now, recently, with the help of the Google Web Toolkit, we were able to convert Pop It into a state-of-the-art HTML5 web app in less than 48 hours. So you saw Pop It today. Now with me is my colleague Keith Emnett, who's going to show you the new version of Pop It running in Chrome. So we're going to start a game here. You can see the same gameplay mechanic. You see two or more balloons of the same color. You pop them. But I think Pop It players around the world are really going to love this new Pop It experience. I think the first thing that they're going to notice is the performance. It's blazing fast. It's simply the fastest and smoothest playing Pop It we've ever made. Now the next thing they're going to notice are the graphics. It's in full high definition right now, and it's the best looking Pop It, again, that they've ever played. So, for all its sophistication and technology, it's still the same simple and fun Pop It. It just is faster and prettier than ever before. So that's the new version of Pop It. And you know, when we made Pop It, we thought, it's so much fun, everyone should have it. And so they will. Today, proud to announce that Pop It will be embedded in the new Chrome 9 release. So when you download Chrome, you'll also get Pop It. But you can also download Pop It today on the new Google Chrome Web Store, along with a suite of our other EA games right now. So we're real excited about Chrome 9 and the new Google Chrome Web Store, and hope you like our games there. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Another exciting game for me to play with my kids. So it's great to see Pop It on the Web Store. The final partner we want to invite on stage for the Web Store is one of the pioneers of the web, Amazon. They've been writing great applications. You've seen a lot of their great applications on the web, on mobile platforms. And today, we have 2 exciting apps they want to announce for the Chrome Web Store. So to talk about that, I want to invite Eva Manolis and David Lim from Amazon. Thanks.
Thank you. Good morning. As the web has become more powerful and immersive, Amazon is constantly exploring ways that we can take advantage of that for our customers. We're really excited about the opportunity to distribute some of these new apps we've been developing through the Chrome Web Store. The one I want to talk about today is Window Shop, which will be available, is now available actually through the Chrome Web Store. Window Shop takes the uncompromising shopping experience that Amazon customers have grown to know and love, but with a completely new and fluid interface. With Window Shop, you can browse bestsellers in consumer electronics and books, everything we've got, new releases from music and from movies, sports and outdoors, clothing, virtually everything that's available through Amazon. We've also designed a new way to search and browse our selection. Being the holiday season, let's do a quick search for, cake. As you'd expect, there's many, many books on cakes. There's new music and old music from the band Cake. There's lots of tools you can use to decorate cakes. If you're a little less ambitious, you can buy a ready-made cake, have it shipped to your home. One of the things I've noticed about this app is it's a very expensive app for everybody developing it because we're constantly finding new things we didn't plan to buy that we end up buying in Window Shop. Tons of toys. And I think the great thing that we're doing with Window Shop is we take all of the great products and images and all the information we have about our products and brought it to you on Window Shop, just like we have on Amazon.com. So all the high-resolution imagery is there for you to enjoy, a lot of information about the product, and of course, importantly, all of our customer reviews. That one has not yet been reviewed. You can take a look at some of our other products, all available through windowshop.com. And of course, you can also browse through all the great selection we have for Kindle in our Kindle store. Let's take a look at this one here. I'm not quite sure what those are. Cake Pops. I'd like to turn it over to Dave, and he'll tell a little bit more about Cake Pops.
Great. Thanks, Eva. So for the past over 3 years, we've at Amazon have been executing on a vision for Kindle to offer a big vision, which is to give every book ever printed in any language, anywhere in the world, in less than 60 seconds. And to execute against that, we've built a great Kindle device, but we also have built a series of applications for all sorts of different platforms, from Android to iOS. And today, those allow you, as a user, to buy once and read anywhere. So we're very excited today to be able to announce for the first time and show for the first time, actually, Kindle for the web. This is an application that's been built from the ground up using HTML5 to give you the access to all the books that you love directly within the browser. And you do it without any plugins and without any downloads. So it's really, really cool. Let's go ahead and exit out of the Window Shop application here. And we'll go ahead and bring up the beginning here and launch Kindle for the web. The first thing that you're going to see here is that it's a no-compromise application. It looks like an application. It feels like an application. And you can navigate through it. So this is our traditional grid view. And you notice because it is Kindle, all of the books that I have available to me are all backed up into the cloud. So they're here ready for me, even though I'm coming at this from a web browser. But because we had access to new HTML5 technology and different types of things from the web, we were able to give different views to this information as well. So this is one of my favorites. This is a flow view that we've been able to add to the application. You can see as I kind of dial through here, you get very, very high performance as we look through the books that are in my library right now. The book that Eva just showed on Window Shop here is Cake Pops. Sorry about that. Go back to Cake Pops here. click through to that. And, whoops,
It's a little too fast.
I guess. I don't know what's happening. There it goes. So we have cake pops up on the screen now. And because we're using web technologies, we can integrate with a lot of the other properties that Amazon has. So here we've brought in some of the information we have from our social networking site on reading called Shelfari. People can do character plots and give you summaries of what's going on inside the book. But the most important thing is that we can quickly go off and kind of read this book. And like always with our philosophy around Kindle, once you get inside of the book, we want the technology to disappear and the book to take front and center. We want you to be absorbed in the story as the author originally intended. And here we have a great cookbook that shows you great, beautiful graphical images of the book. And as I kind of scroll back and forth, you notice things like page turns. They don't get in your way. They're just seamless. They're very, very fast. We also didn't compromise at all about typography. We have great fonts in this, and as a user, you have the control to be able to set up your line spacing, how you want the margins to look, how big and small you want the font to appear on the screen. And we can go ahead and bring that up as we kind of go back and forth here. And all of this has been built inside of the web to be able to give you a great experience and be able to give you that Kindle experience that you want today and tomorrow. Now, as we also move forward, not only do you get this as a reader, but because these technologies are embedded, anybody with a website out there today can take these, add them to the website, and make their own website a bookstore for themselves. And you can then have the one-click purchase right off to these books that you've seen here today. We're going to be launching Kindle for the web early next year, and we hope that you all get a chance to try it out when it appears in the Chrome Web Store. Thanks.
Thanks, Eva and David. Really exciting that Windows Shop is launching today, and I can't wait to see Kindle come on the web and in the Chrome Web Store. So the web store is actually ready for use today. So people can go to this URL. It'll be rolling out later today. Anyone from Chrome can go to the URL chrome.google.com/webstore and start using the store. We are starting off with around 500 applications because we've been working directly with partners, but now it's out in the open, and we expect the number of applications to grow very, very sharply. Again, what we will also do is start featuring the store very prominently in the new tab page of Chrome. We'll start in the US in Q1 and start rolling it out all over the world with payment systems integrated. And our goal is to make sure developers can reach the 120 million users of Chrome, far more than users available for any other app store today. So we think it's a very, very exciting step, and I can't wait for users to try out and let us know what they think. The third topic, which we want to give you an update on, is Chrome OS. So Chrome OS is something we started working on in earnest about a year ago, and we announced the open source project. I think it's worth recapping why we started working on this problem in the first place. When we launched Chrome, we noticed that based on every data we could find, people live within the browser and use the web most of the time. In fact, since 2004 on your computers, it is very hard to name a single application outside of the web, a traditional desktop application, which has scaled to millions of users. Very hard to name even one. And you can name hundreds of web applications. People are voting very strongly. It's a very profound shift. On their computers, people live on the browser within the web. But if you look at how most computers, most PCs work today, most of the code on the system, most of the complexity on the system, the security issues you run into the system, the maintenance you deal with the system, has nothing to do with the browser or the web. In fact, if you were to write operating systems today, this is not how you would write it. Most operating systems today on personal computers were designed before the web even existed. So we really wanted to take the opportunity to rethink the personal computing experience for the modern web, where users live most of their time on their favorite web applications. And that is what Chrome OS is about. In fact, Chrome OS is nothing but the web. We have gone to great lengths to make sure it's essentially as close as possible Chrome running on hardware directly. Sounds simplistic when you say that, but once you make that fundamental assumption, once you make that basic assumption, you can deliver a far simpler, safer, more secure, and a delightful experience. It's easier actually to show it rather than talk about it. So we're going to give you a full demo from a Chrome notebook. We have a reference hardware we are going to use for the purpose of this demo, and Ken is going to help me walk through Chrome OS. Let's first start with your Windows machine. So because that's where we have been demoing Chrome since then, we can minimize and show you it's your PC. And you can see we had the Chrome Web Store. This is Ken's world. These are the applications he has installed. This is his theme. He clearly loves speed, probably why he loves Chrome as well. So he has a Rocket theme. You can see he has bookmarks on top. This is his world, a very, very personalized world. So what we want to go through is what a real user is going to go through when they first get a brand new Chrome notebook and they open it outside their box. So we want to walk with you the end-to-end experience. So let's imagine Ken heard about Chrome notebooks, and he wants to go ahead and start setting up a Chrome notebook. So let's switch now to a Chrome notebook. And this is what users will see when they first open the lid. So you open the box. This is what you see. You have to choose your internet connectivity, obviously, so you can do that. The next step is for you to read. The second step is for you to read and accept terms and conditions. So once you do that, we check for updates. In this case, we are in the latest version. And then you need to log into your machine. You can continue without logging in if you want. The next step is for you to take a picture. It turns out about 50% of users don't like their pictures being taken. So we need to improve this step, but Ken clearly is not one of them. So let's go ahead and take a picture, Ken. So we'll click OK. And what you will see is we are going to launch you into the Chrome notebook. 4 steps, and you're inside in a brand new Chrome notebook with your applications, your bookmarks, your themes, your extensions. 0 to done in less than 60 seconds on a brand new machine. We wanted to compare and contrast this with setting up a PC, but we realized we wouldn't have time in this event for us to set up our entire PC and get you back to all your data. That's how much simpler this experience can be. So this is how you set up the computer. So instant boot, instant setup. Another common use case people run into with their laptops, their notebooks is they constantly close the lid because they want to save power. They want to put it on standby. And then they really want to get back to the web very, very quickly. But it takes time for your computer to wake up. In fact, at Google, I've seen this syndrome by which people actually walk around with their laptops open. Because they know once they close it, it takes them time to go back, check where the next meeting is, etc. Again, because we want to deliver the web to you instantly, we have taken the time to make sure we can resume instantly as well. We resume very, very fast. In fact, we resume so fast, it's hard for the projectors to keep up. So if you could bear with us, we're going to get a real live camera in. So let's go ahead and put the machine in standby. So now we are putting the laptop in full standby mode. This is, it can last in days of standby mode. Imagine Ken wants to go out for a movie that evening. So he just wants to find information about movies. Let's go ahead and resume the Chrome notebook. And as you can see, the projector is coming back now, but it demos and it's connected back to the internet instantly in the order of milliseconds every time. In fact, the delaying factor is for the user to move their hands, type in the keyboard, and complete the query. So again, you can set up the machine instantly, it boots near instantly, and resume is really instant, just really instant. So it's phenomenal. The third use case we want to show to you about is, again, by building nothing but the web, we can do amazing things. We can deliver the same experience to you everywhere. So let's go back and get on the screen both the PC and the Chrome notebook. So on one side, you're seeing the PC, Chrome running on the PC. On the other side, you're seeing Chrome running on a Chrome notebook. So let's go ahead. And it's common for users. Ken is going to move around his home, assuming he uses both machines. It's going to work on both machines. Let's see how that world looks like. Why don't we go ahead and uninstall the theme from one of the machines? So we're going to go ahead. Ken has changed his mind about the theme. He's gotten tired of it, so he uninstalled the theme. Let's go ahead and uninstall an application on the other machine. That is Reader. So, do you want to go ahead and uninstall, Ken? Okay, great. So Ken can go ahead and uninstall Reader. And once he does, you can see these changes propagate across all these machines instantly. So the theme has gone from both these machines, and the app should get uninstalled in about 10 to 20 seconds. So again, we make it possible for you to get the same experience everywhere. It really does not matter which application. The application is now gone. So it does not matter which device you use. You can use Chrome on your computer, on your Windows, Mac, move to Chrome on a Chrome notebook within a matter of seconds. Sometimes, like literally within 1 second, we propagate your important data everywhere. We call this the same experience everywhere. The fourth use case, let's go back to the Chrome notebook. The fourth use case we want to show you is sharing. It's very common for all of us to share our computers. We share it at home with family and friends. But it's really hard to share your computers today. So in this case, Ken is sharing this computer with his wife. Again, because we deliver the same experience everywhere, all his wife needs to do, anytime pick up the notebook, log in with her credentials, she gets her experience. In fact, she can walk away with the machine, and it doesn't matter whose machine this device really is. It is a true cloud computing device. The other use case which we work to optimize is how do you share it with a friend? It's very common. For example, I go through this. I have friends visiting, and they occasionally want to use my computer. I hesitate a little bit because I don't want them to see my full browsing history. I see some discomfort with them as well as they're using my machine. They're careful because they're worried that I will have access to their browsing history. So we've really thought about this use case. So all your friend needs to do is to click on the guest mode. So you can open your lid. It'll be here. You can ask them to use it on the guest mode. And we open a full incognito session of Chrome for your friend. Everything. In fact, it is the most private mode today I've seen on any computers. Your friend can use the device in the guest mode. Everything he does in this mode is private. Once he closes and exits guest mode, it's wiped out. I can't see what he has done, and he had no access to any of my data. We call this the friends let friends login feature. So we've made it, again, really, by delivering nothing but the web, we've made it very, very easy for you to share your computers. So far, walking through these use cases, it's very obvious connectivity is an integral part of this experience. But we realize you won't be connected all the time. So we want to show you how that use case looks like. So let's imagine Ken is going back from Mountain View. He lives in New York, and so he's going back to New York on a trip, back home, and he's reached the airport. Luckily, he has Wi-Fi, so he starts working on Google Docs. So he's going to go ahead and create a document for work, which is an important document he's working on, when he realizes it's time for him to board the plane. Unfortunately, he is not on Virgin, Air France, or Delta, because if you were in one of those airlines, you get free Wi-Fi sponsored by Google Chrome. But he's on a different airline, and so he doesn't have free Wi-Fi. So he's within the plane, not a problem, right? So he can continue working on Google Docs. We just disconnected the connectivity. We can even show it to you by going to google.com. The device is no longer connected. The device is offline. You can go back to Google Docs and continue working on the document. Not a problem. You can keep working on it. Google Docs is an application I love. It's amazingly collaborative. The next time he gets connectivity, not only will his changes get synced, other people could be working on the document at the same time, and they will all get synced. So the Google Docs team is working on this feature to make it work offline. They'll have more details today, but it's an upcoming feature of Google Docs, which I think really helps complete the story. So you can continue to be productive even when you're not connected. But you don't always want to work. You want to have fun at times. So let's assume Ken in the plane gets bored. He can go back to the web store, and again, a whole set of apps on the Chrome Web Store will work offline. For example, let's go ahead and click on the game, Entanglement. It tells him it's offline, but it can continue playing the game. Because using HTML5 offline, they've cached the game locally on the machine. So it's the kind of game in which it's very difficult. You should try playing it. But he can continue doing it without any Wi-Fi connectivity. We also want to show you what else you can do. You can read news. Earlier, New York Times showed how their apps works offline. They're in the process of completing it, but we will go ahead and show it to you again. You're not connected. You can click, and you will be within New York Times. So we've made it possible for you to use this device even if you don't have connectivity. Having said that, we realize in today's modern web, you really need to be connected. What does it mean in today's world of Twitter, real-time updates, social networking, constant email, constant news? I really think computers aren't that useful when you're not connected. So given this is a cloud computing device, we've put in a lot of work to make sure users always have the option to stay connected with a Chrome notebook. We'll show you how it works. So Ken has landed in New York, landed safely in New York, and he's on a taxi cab ride home. So obviously he has no connectivity, but he wants to plan dinner. What he can do, he can go ahead and enable cellular connectivity. As you can see, he's doing that right now. Every Chrome notebook will ship with built-in data connectivity. You can switch seamlessly between Wi-Fi and cellular. So we're going to show that he's back connectivity. You can see on the top of the icon, he's actually using it on 3G. It works really well in 3G. And we can, as LTE rolls along, we are very excited to adopt that as well. So you have connectivity fully built in. Let's go ahead and do a query. Maybe he wants to plan dinner. And turns out he heard something about spaghetti tacos. And he's really excited at having that for dinner. The point here is it works. We are doing this in 3G. We can even show other use cases. So he found a recipe he can go ahead and print from his taxi cab without any printer drivers on his machine. No printer drivers. Using Google Cloud Print, he can print on any device connected to his network. And so he's going to go ahead and print it so that it's ready for him at his home, and it'll get printed. As you can see, it's printing out right now, and that's recipe for Ken's dinner. So the thing which we've done, Google Cloud Print, by the way, is in beta, and it'll be rolling out shortly as well. There you go, Ken.
Thanks.
So going back to connectivity, how did we do this? So I want to give you details on how Chrome OS is connected. So let's go back to the slides. We have partnered with the leading wireless carrier in the United States, Verizon Wireless, to offer seamless built-in connectivity in every Chrome notebook. The plan is very unique. Verizon has worked with us closely to make sure the customer is at the center of this experience. You have no contracts, no commitments. When you get a Chrome notebook, every user has 100 megs of free data every month for 2 years.
I misclicked.
All you need to do is to go ahead and activate it. The activation process takes about 5 minutes. We are working very closely with Verizon to make that even simpler. It's a fully self-driven activation process. Again, no commitments, no contracts, etc. You pay for only what you need. A unique part of the plan is you can just get a day pass. Anytime you want, if you're above the 100 megs, you can get a day pass for $9.99, and you get unlimited data for a day. Or you can buy data in chunks. You can buy 1 gigabyte at a time, and you keep going that way. Again, the plans aren't recurring automatically just because you buy it once. So it is a really customer-friendly plan, built with customer in mind. You pay for what you use. I've been using my device on Verizon network. That's what we demoed it to you here. It works amazingly well. The web is really usable. So we're very excited. Given the nature of this device, we will give you the option to use it offline, but more importantly, as users, as you travel around, we have built in a Gobi world mode modem from Qualcomm, which powers all of this. So we'll enable international options as well. So the users can move around and always be connected with the device. The next area on Chrome OS, we've talked about speed and simplicity. Just like with Chrome, security is a huge area of focus for Chrome OS. Just want to take a minute and talk to you about how today's PCs work from a security standpoint. The model is very, very simple. You as a user are responsible for keeping your computer secure. The onus is on you. You have to make sure your computer is up to date. In the case of Chrome, I talked about keeping the browser up to date. But in the case of the operating system on your PC, you have to make sure every single application on your PC is up to date. On top of it, you have to make sure your entire operating system is up to date. Otherwise, you can get compromised, and it happens every day. Users have to decide what files they can install. They get these security warnings. which says, do you want to trust and install this executable? Data shows again and again, the single biggest security threat on computers is between the keyboard and the seat. It's the users. We are busy. We keep doing other things. We click wrong once, click yes wrongly once, you've compromised your machine. So the onus of security on PCs today is on the user. We think this can be very, very different. And that's what the Chrome OS security is all about. Again, let's go back to the defense in depth strategy. So we had the castle, which is Chrome. We already had that. So you're browsing within Chrome. You get all of Chrome's updates. You get Chrome sandboxing. But we've added several additional layers in Chrome OS. First of all, the entire operating system will be automatically updated for users. You never ever deal with updating the operating system or any applications. All your applications in your app store, your operating system will be seamlessly updated, keeping the machine very secure. We have added additional sandboxing beyond the browser at an operating system level. So if malware escapes the browser, we keep containing it in another security boundary, etc. So that is a huge protection. The third area, which I'm excited by, is by default, all user data in Chrome OS, by default, is encrypted, heavily encrypted, which is why tomorrow I can close my machine, hand it to another user. I don't need to worry about it. The data is encrypted by default. Finally, an area which is an amazing computer science innovation, which I want to talk about, is verified boot. This idea has been around for a while. We hope to be the first consumer operating system which ever ships verified boot. What verified boot does is you take the core initial part of the operating system, the core initial part, and you put it on your device in what we call read-only firmware. You put it in a part of the device which no software can modify or alter it. Unless you physically get access to the device, swap out that component, you cannot alter or modify that core initial part of the operating system. So we always know that is safe. And every time when you boot Chrome OS, we use that safe part to cryptographically, digitally check every other component of the operating system to make sure it hasn't been modified or altered. If we detect any changes, we keep a known good backup copy to which we can revert, or we can warn the user. It is very, very hard to compromise this layer. The combination of all these layers, we are very confident that when we ship Chrome notebooks, it will be the most secure consumer operating system that has ever been shipped to users. So security is an integral part of this experience. So far, we have been talking about Chrome OS experience for consumers. But a natural part of the security story lends itself very well to businesses as well. In fact, while we announced the project for consumers, we were positively surprised by the extent to which CIOs showed interest in Chrome OS. We had a lot of incoming calls from CIOs. And while we intuitively understood the value proposition of Chrome OS to businesses, it was great to hear this validated from their own words. So there are three main things which most CIOs identify as what is great about Chrome OS for businesses. The first is the security benefits I talked about. Countless hours are spent within the enterprise keeping their systems safe and secure. The second area is simplicity. If you look at the amount of administration, in fact, we talk to sysadmins all the time. They're very frustrated by the amount of time they have to spend on tasks like installing new software, making sure the latest version is updated, etc. They want to instead spend it on higher value-added activities like what applications they can deploy in the enterprise, not worry about installing and updating software. Huge opportunity there. The third area, we don't even need to spend time with CIOs on this. The total cost of ownership of our model versus what they have today is a couple of orders of magnitude different. So the delta is so huge, we've actually been inundated with interest from the enterprise, from CIOs. In fact, one of the leading enterprise solutions vendor, Citrix Systems, they actually today work with a lot of companies. They work with CIOs today. CIOs suggested, given what you're trying to do and given what Chrome OS is trying to do, why don't you work together to make sure we can also access important productivity applications directly from Chrome notebooks? To show you how that works, I'm going to invite Gordon Payne, who's the SVP of Citrix Systems.
All right, thanks, Sundar. And we're going to have Brad Peterson, our Chief Demonstration Officer from Citrix, join me on stage here as well. We are absolutely excited to be working with Chrome or Google on Chrome and Chrome OS, and we're excited about the partnership. The best thing about this partnership that Sundar just mentioned is that it is absolutely customer-driven. These are CIOs and organizations where Google has been out talking with the organizations, and they suggested that we should partner together. So why is that? Well, Citrix is deployed widely in organizations. We've spent the last 10 or 15 years taking applications off of PCs, moving them to the data center, running them safely, securely in the data center, and delivering them as a service. By the way, like everything is on the web, we just do it inside of organizations for workers inside the organization and for remote access as well. So with that centralization and delivery of enterprise and business applications as a service, this is a natural partnership with Chrome OS and Chrome notebooks. As an example, we have approximately 250,000 customers around the world centralizing and delivering their applications within their organization. This is every kind of business: banks, retail, hospitals, government, manufacturing, and they may have 250,000 employees, or they may have 50 employees. So very large and very small and very broadly deployed. So we've been off doing this and centralizing applications, delivering them as a service. Now, the way our users get access to those applications is something called Citrix Receiver. Citrix Receiver works on PCs, on Macs, on just about every tablet on the planet. We call ourselves Tablets Are Us these days. Every smartphone. You can go to the Android market, download Citrix Receiver, and have it run on your Android phone. And if your company has Citrix, you can get access to all of your applications in your organization through Citrix Receiver. So we've been working with the engineering teams in Google to make Citrix Receiver work very well with Chrome OS. And if we can move to the demo, what you see here is the login screen for Citrix Receiver. So you've got Chrome OS, you pop out the browser, you hit this tab, and whether you're in the company or remote, you can log in and get your applications. So Brad, can you give us a bit of a tour?
I will do just that. So here I'm going to go ahead and click on Login. And this brings me to my home page for Citrix Receiver. So these are the enterprise applications that I use day in and day out. Just a couple, 2, 3 here as an example. If I click on the first productivity application that you see there, you might be familiar with, it's going to open it up. It's going to run right in front of me here, and it's going to appear as though it's here in front of me. In fact, it's very interactive when I connect in here and start changing values in the spreadsheet.
Okay, so hold on, let's just be clear so people can understand what's going on. We're accessing Excel in Chrome, but Excel is actually running on the server in the data center, the private cloud of the company, in their own data center. So it's safe, secure, runs in the data center. And did you see how fast it launched? Excel doesn't launch that fast just on a PC, right? So it's fast.
Yeah.
And now you're in the environment, it is fast and responsive. Even though it's in the data center, all of the experience is right here.
That's right. And the nice part about this is a spreadsheet that I was working on earlier in the day. So I come up to another device like this, connect in, and it's left where I left off last. Now, in addition to spreadsheets, let's look at some of these other applications we saw here, more financial-based applications like SAP. So you're going to find SAP in enterprises around the world. Clearly a client-server-based application. Connect in, gets you to the logon prompt. You can go right inside SAP.
So just on SAP, every company's financial system, their supply chain, customer relationship management running on SAP. Now, after you've seen Pop-It, I don't think this is one of those things that we want to go in and demonstrate. So you've got something that's a little cooler.
Pop-It. Now, this is a CAD CAM application. So there's a lot of data involved here. SolidWorks, come up into this little see-do design, decide whether you want to go into shaded form or not, or pop a perspective on here. And again, complex, heavy data, rich experience here. We're all running in the data center, sent to me here. Now I'm sitting here working away on all these different tabs that I brought up. So I've got Excel, and I can still crank away in there, pop into SAP, and still go into SolidWorks CAD/CAM.
So multiple applications all running in the data center, and you could move from device to device, access them, never shut them down, or shut them down if you want.
That's right.
Okay.
Now, what if I want more apps? Because 3 is never enough. We can go into the Enterprise Apps location here with Citrix Receiver. So this represents here, and if I go over to the side and scroll down, all the applications inside the enterprise. So you can imagine companies around the world with hundreds, if not thousands, of applications that are made available to their employees already with Citrix. Well, now you can come in with Receiver and go and access those. If I click on SAP in the search space, it's going to show me that the SAP Enterprise Portal is an app that I've already added. I just showed you that. I'm using
Boy, a
it.
search-centric interface. Isn't that a surprise?
Yes. Now here, I've got additional SAP applications that I could pick, but I can also go in and grab some others that I don't have yet, like Hyperion. So search for that, grab a few Hyperion applications, click on Add. I can add those into my home space within the browser here, and now they are. If I go ahead and launch one of those, it opens right up. Oh, there you go. I hate it when my parent is invalid. It launches the application, and away we go. All right, it should. Now, as it does, it launches that in the background. We're going to see the rest of our applications are still open, and we can continue to work with those across the tabs here. And again, very interactive data.
Okay. Can you just go back to the store, Brad? So we have multiple applications running. We have the store.
Fully
You can
loaded.
add application. You see the user experience is very similar to the Google Web Store. This is a private store in the organization. So nice and simple and consistent for users from the public web and also with private cloud implementations. Very, very cool. So for our users, what you saw in the demonstration here was accessing applications, launching applications, getting more applications, running applications. Great and simple for our users. And these applications are already in the enterprise. So you bring in a Chrome notebook, and you'll have immediate access to all of the enterprise applications as well. We're working on this jointly with Google. We expect to introduce it in the first half of next year to enable all of our customers to be able to adopt Chrome OS and notebooks within the organization. So back to Sundar's point as the introduction here, what we're doing with all of this is taking all of the applications off of machines into the data center, so you have your apps and data in the data center that's secure. The next thing is it's unbelievably simple to use. It's simple, and also it's a little bit fun. Imagine that in enterprise applications. And last but not least, really easy to manage the endpoint devices and all of the things that are in the data center, so you know that we're going to reduce the cost of managing applications. And that's a beautiful thing. So with that, I'll turn it back to Sundar to complete the story. Thank you.
So that really helps complete the story and make it much more attractive for businesses. So let's go ahead and recap what we have shown you on Chrome OS. By building an experience which is nothing but the web, we can make it instant for you to set up, boot, and get on the web all the time. We deliver the same experience everywhere, independent of the device you use. It's extremely simple to share, seamless sharing with friends and family. It's always connected. You can use it offline, but we give users the option to be always connected with built-in connectivity from Verizon, anytime, anywhere. Security is built in from the ground up. The final point I want to add is, if you remember the first day when you go and buy a brand new shiny PC, it feels really good that day. A month later, it's gotten a bit slower. A year later, it's actually a lot slower. You have a lot of applications slowing it down. It used to take maybe 30 seconds to boot up, but it now takes a minute to boot up. Computers get slow over time. We want to deliver an experience which is the opposite. I've been using a Chrome notebook for 6 months, and the computer actually gets better over time. The reason is, just like Chrome, we have a new version of the operating system every few weeks, and we automatically update to you. So you don't need to. It's very hard in today's PC to go and buy a new version of the operating system and update your machine to that version. So we want to deliver this experience where the computer forever feels new. So that is what the product is. So let's talk about where we are now. So It's meant to simulate a work in progress. We started working on it in earnest about a year ago. Amazing progress, but we aren't fully done yet. The cloud print example I showed you works, but it is in a beta stage. We need to get it to stable. These devices have USB ports. We expect people to plug in cameras. We exactly know what we need to do there. We haven't quite done the work yet. We need to tune performance more so that it is really Chrome fast end-to-end across the device. And finally, there are bugs, just like you would find beta software. So we realize we have some time left to go. Let me first tell you what is coming from partners in retail. We're very excited to announce that we are working with two of the leading OEMs in the world. Acer is one of the leading PC manufacturers in the world, and Samsung is one of the leading consumer electronics vendors in the world. We are working with them closely along with Intel. These will be powered by Intel chips to deliver Chrome notebooks in the hands of consumers in the mid of 2011. There are many other OEMs who are working on it, and they will follow with various devices and form factors after that. So that's what's coming down the line, and we are very, very excited by it. Having said that, I've been living on this device internally for 6 months as my primary device. Thousands of Googlers are actually using this as their main computer. We are testing it internally. So given this is an open source project and we are working with community and partners, we actually wanted to have a program by which we could ship these devices, a few of these devices externally, so that real users can test out and give us feedback. So I'm very, very excited to announce that today we are introducing the Chrome OS pilot program. So the program is intended for early adopters, users who are used to using beta software, to use it and give us feedback. Let me give you details of the pilot program. First, let me show the device. So this is the device which we are going to use for the pilot program. We call it CR48. CR stands for chromium. There are many isotopes of chromium, but after a day's debate amongst the engineers at Google, they figured 48 is the isotope they want to name this device at. It is, as you can see, it's completely unbranded. It's available in any color as long as it's black. There are no brands, no stickers. The hardware exists only to test the software. Having said that, there are attributes of this device which we hope to see in our partner hardware as well. So we'll give you some of the high-level specs. First of all, it has a 12.1-inch display, really optimized. It's a high-resolution display optimized for the web. It's a full-size keyboard. There's no shrink in the keyboard, so that it's really easy to use for hours at a time. A huge, oversized touchpad, clickable touchpad. We have 3G built in. There's a fast dual-band Wi-Fi, 802.11n, both inbound and outbound, so it's very fast. It has over 8 hours of active use. I pretty much use it all day without needing to carry a charger, and well over a week of standby time with a webcam built in. Given this is for the web, we've made a few changes as well. There are no caps lock keys. We are optimistic it'll improve the quality of comments all over the web. There are no function keys as well. My mom still hasn't figured out what to do with the function keys. There are no hard drives, no spinning disks. We occasionally drop these to test it out. It has more than enough gigabytes you need, but there are no hard drives. And finally, jailbreaking mode is a built-in feature of the product. So as developers, you can flip the device, take out the battery, flip a switch. You can do whatever you want. You can install another operating system too. It's fully available for you to break into. So that's our reference hardware, CR48. So let me talk about how we are going to distribute it in the pilot program. First is businesses. We mentioned how CIOs have been very interested in deploying this. We're very excited to announce all the partners mentioned on this slide are going to be deploying pilot programs of Chrome notebooks, of CR48s. So there are many names here. There are companies like Midwest Vaco, which is based in Chicago. There, people from their IT teams actually had Chromium OS running on their machines before we even approached them. Actually, they approached us. American Airlines sees this as an ideal candidate for remote reservation agents. All they do is live within a browser while they handle reservations. In fact, we've had so much interest from call centers There are call centers which have 3,000 employees who spend their entire day living within the browser, and they run complex PCs today, which are insecure and it's very costly to administer. Virgin America, while they're going to start small for certain portions of their organization, their CIO sees it as a candidate for the entire company. They think this could work for their entire company. So that's an opportunity as well. One final name I would like to call out is Department of Defense, who knows a thing or two about security. They are interested in deploying it in some of their affiliated organizations as well. And they told us we can tell you what those organizations were. So that's how we are going to give it to businesses. Let's talk about the pilot program for consumers. As I'm speaking today, in the new tab page of Chrome, for a few users, there'll be an offer to join the pilot program. They will see it appear on their screens. They can click it, and if they're interested, they can apply for it, and we will ship them a Chrome notebook device. So that's one way to get it. We also ran, on the Facebook fan page, we have over 4.3 million followers. We ran a promotion a couple days ago announcing a sticker for your Chrome laptop. And there was a quiz. If you did that quiz and you got selected, you'll get a sticker, but it turns out it'll be on an actual Chrome notebook being shipped to you right now. There is more. You can go to YouTube. You can go to youtube.com/Google Chrome and can submit a video as to why you would make an ideal candidate for this Chrome notebook. We are looking for people who understand what we are doing, can help us test and give feedback. So we'll be selecting users from there as well. For those of you in the audience, hopefully in the next few minutes, there should be an email in your inbox. And if you click that and give us an address, we will ship a Chrome notebook to everyone in this room as well. For everyone else, for those who are watching on the webcast, you can come to this URL, google.com/Chrome notebook, and there is an application. There's a link there which is apply for the pilot program. You can click there and apply for the pilot program. We have limited number of devices, and we are really looking to get it to the right users. At this point, I want to invite a special guest on stage. Most of you know Eric as the CEO of Google. I've worked with Eric for over 6 years now. In all the meetings I've had with him, I've known him first and foremost as a computer scientist and a deep technologist who has pioneered a lot of the work in cloud computing we are talking about here. Every time we talk about, he wants to talk about the web platform, where it is going, what the next set of evolutions are, and so I'm very excited to have him here to share a few words with us.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. My congratulations to Sundar, Linus, and the whole team. It's obviously an amazing set of product announcements. We're really part of a journey of cloud computing. And this journey can be seen both in a historical context in terms of also what we think is going to happen in the next many decades, that cloud computing will sort of essentially define computing as we all know it. I work at Google primarily because Google is one of a handful of companies that can do real computer science at scale, and that we are able to actually build platforms of the kind of complexity that the simplicity that you've seen now can generate. In other words, these complex systems, when properly built, produce these extraordinarily elegant and simple solutions. Now, why is this so hard? Okay, well, I probably have as good a story as any. In 1983, I was part of a team at Sun that was very proud to announce the 3 M machines. The M's were 1 megapixel, 1 megahertz, and 1 megabit. Right? Do the math, guys. And as part of that, we introduced a diskless computer because disks in your client were such a problem. So this is not a new concept. Don't be confused. There are very few new ideas in computer science. The last really new one, by the way, was public key encryption in 1975. Somehow we're always bringing them back because we want to either we love them or because they were right and we couldn't implement them. So why is this one so difficult? Well, we did that for a while. We had all the IT stuff. Then the web was invented. And the web is not really cloud computing. The web is really an information resource of enormous impact. We all understand what the web has done to society, to our industry, to all of us as individuals, and we'll forever be grateful to Tim Berners-Lee and the team that made that happen. And in fact, in the first cycle here in 1995, remember the Netscape IPO, the Java announcement and all that, ultimately leading in 1997 to an announcement by Oracle and myself and a whole bunch of other people who were heavily involved of a product called the network computer. Exactly what we're talking about today. Read the language. Use your favorite search engine and look at what I said, right? So why did it fail, right? Why should you believe us now? Well, we were right then and we were wrong then. We were right that the underlying problems that computing had evolved, the client server, the complexity, the costs, and so forth, really were a problem, right? But we were wrong in understanding how complex and subtle the problems were. And of course, we were in the middle of the bubble, and God knows however else we were distracted, and so forth and so on. It was all sort of an amazing time. But when I think back hard, it was because we couldn't build great applications on the web technologies of the time. We could build information resources. You could read things and do things and so forth. But you couldn't build web applications that were at the scale and power of the then existing desktop applications, which at the time were Olay and Win32 and various Mac APIs and so forth and so on. So what did it take? Well, first thing is it took time. Moore's law is a factor of 1,000 in 15 years. So 13 years ago, 15 years ago versus today, you have 1,000 times faster networks, CPUs, screens, just literally more horsepower at the networking and disk level. The disks are that much faster. The network is more reliable and so forth and so on. There was a technology built in 2003, 2004, which it was called asynchronous JavaScript and XML, abbreviated as AJAX, which built the first interesting web apps. Gmail, for example, was either the first or one of the early first AJAX applications. And all of a sudden people said, this web thing is actually kind of useful. I can write some pretty interesting applications. They can update themselves and so forth and so on. And then a general technology now known as LAMP, which stands for Linux, Apache, MySQL, PHP, Perl, and Python, and various other Ps, evolved as a platform for the back end. So all of a sudden you had a client and you had a back end that were powerful enough that a new programming model, which is indeed what these things are built around, where people, instead of building these large monolithic pieces of programs, they would take snippets of code, objects if you will, and they would aggregate them together in languages like Java and JavaScript, which sort of then came to dominate the middle period. Now, why am I telling you all of this? Because it took us all of this work to get to the point where a modern browser could emerge in the form of Chrome. Chrome, of course, now is a huge success that we've highlighted. Was also interesting. When Larry and Sergey, of course, Larry and Sergey have always been ahead of me on these things when I first joined the company. Larry and Sergey absolutely wanted to be in the browser business and the operating system business, and I absolutely was not interested in being in either, and I said no. And I worked very, very hard. They sneakily hired a number of people who were very, very clever to work on the Firefox browser, which we helped fund through an advertising deal, which has been amazingly successful. And ultimately, that core team ultimately was able to build this phenomenal browser called Chrome, which finally broke through the architectural frameworks that people had with respect to security and speed, which we've highlighted so now. We've gone from a point where we had reliable disks and unreliable networks to a world where we have reliable networks and the absence of a disk or an unreliable disk, or we don't really care about the disk. Architecturally, that's a huge change for the way people think about applications. And what I like in particular about this is that you have a series now, you have this sort of the whole industry working on a set of platforms that set up, in my view, real success going forward. Let's review. The first is the adoption of HTML5. If you haven't heard enough about HTML5 this morning, go spend some more time reading about it. It is now finally possible to build the powerful apps that you take it for granted on a PC or a Macintosh with the graphics and so forth and so on. It's finally possible to build them on top of a browser platform. And we show them over and over and over again. Furthermore, every vendor in the industry, Google and of course all of our competitors and everybody else, has announced an HTML5 strategy. So it's not just us. And it really is a standard. Even Microsoft has announced its success, which is always exciting. With Chrome OS, we have the development of a viable third choice in real operating systems in the desktop. There's just not been an alternative that took advantage of cloud computing, and now we finally have a product which is strong enough, technical enough, scalable enough, and fast enough that you can build actual powerful platforms on it. It's different, it's not the same, and it's different in ways that matter if you believe in cloud computing. And of course, you also have solutions like Citrix to help you deal with legacy architectures, existing IT architectures, and all of that. So my message here, when I want you to think about this, is think of this as a journey. Think of this as something that we've been talking about for a very, very long time, right? That our instincts were right 10 years ago or 20 years ago, but we didn't have the tools of technology. And that in my view, and I hope when you get our product that we're going to send you as soon as we can, when you play with it and hopefully use it every day, as many people at Google are, you'll realize it does in fact work. You really can build everything that you used to have to sort of mix and match and so forth and take advantage. Why do I think this strategy is going to work well? A lot because of mobile computing. The existing architectures at the IT level and so forth really weren't built for the kind of uses and interaction and interchange that goes on among mobile apps and the new platforms. So I think there's every reason to believe that when you go back and you look in history, not only is this the right time to build these products, but because they work and they work at scale, they'll be very, very successful. So again, thank you so much. I know you've been here all morning, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the show. Take care. Thanks. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Eric. I've been personally on this journey of cloud computing for a while, but it's very clear Eric has been at this longer than most of us in this room. So great to hear from him. So let's recap as to what all we talked about. So we announced our user base of Chrome, seen tremendous adoption. We've grown 300% this year. We are at 120 million active users, a very conservative count. We have a whole slew of features coming up in Chrome focused on speed, with Chrome Instant being very exciting. All those features will be rolling out in the next few weeks. Chrome Web Store, which was the second thing we talked about, is ready to use today. You can go to google.com/Chrome Web Store, install apps. It'll be rolling out later today. And finally, the Chrome OS pilot program. We will be shipping these devices to users who apply and are eligible for the pilot program, including all of you in this room. And hopefully you get a chance to use it, try it out, and enjoy what nothing but the web looks like. Thank you.